start with what's been making waves on socials throughout the week. And Riley, you've helped us out on that front this week.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You've made that move from player to pundit. What is it like for you as a player who played so recently and so still knows so many of the teams, so many of the players so well, making that transition and then also dealing with the spotlight in a very different kind of way this week?
Look, in all honesty, it's been a very easy transition for me. What you see is what you get with me on the pitch, off the pitch, and in the punditry setting. I provide an honest opinion, and that's what people need to remember. Punditry is just an opinion, and for me, you know, it's authentic. So this is what you're going to get from me moving forward.
As Riley is a pundit, and what we've seen this year, Teo, is so many new female voices given a voice and given a platform in our game through Dubzone, through the commentary teams that we've had across the Liberty A-League, and we've seen that diversity of opinion and voice grow.
It's been incredible. That chair, Riley's in it for the first time today, but it's been the home of the breakout star, Teresa Polias of the punditry world. This season, we've seen Grace Gill add extra dimensions to how she analyses the game. Catherine Cannuli as well, coming back from having coached in the league last season. And you mentioned the commentators too. It's not like a Pakua Frimpong or a Taryn Hetto appeared out of thin air. They had already been expressing their opinions, giving their analysis of football on sort of grassroots podcasts. And, you know, I listen to all of them and I'm so...
I do not doubt that you do, Teo.
I'm so thrilled that people that don't need to be ex-players have been able to analyse the game, express themselves in a way that they stand out and all of a sudden are in the mix to sit among, or in Pakua's case, come on the show last week, and share what they think of football too. And that spread of voices is going to lead to an inevitable difference of opinion. But hey, I had a lot of fun this week just because I was talking about the A-League Women's every day with a whole host of people that normally don't engage with the league.
And people who do engage with the league, the players themselves, have absolutely noticed the change as well, Kat. Sometimes in a really challenging way, sometimes in a super positive way. You spoke to a couple of A-League women's players last night and they actually talked about the fact that in terms of highlighting the game and hearing the game being spoken about, they have absolutely noticed the change this year.
Absolutely. They have. And I was very fortunate to speak to Mackenzie Hawkesby and Hannah Keane yesterday on Instagram Live. Hannah Keane, we know, Western United, unbelievable, prolific goal scorer. She's been in the spotlight this entire season. And similarly, Mackenzie Hawkesby is an unreal player for Sydney FC and plays for a club like Sydney FC, is always made to be very accountable to those fans who have a very high expectation from those teams. And it's something that Mackenzie commented on in our chat and said that the momentum around women's football is amazing, but with that comes the good and the bad. It's the commentary, it's creating a narrative around the sport, and it's the fact that, like you said, Riley, punditry is opinion, and opinion and conversation around the game is what allows it to grow, and it's what brings people in and draws them to the game, and we're allowed to have conversations around it and differing opinions. And those girls were fully aware of that, and we had a great conversation around it. And even the existence of Dubzone as a show is something that we didn't have before, and it's a sign of progress and beautiful momentum around the game, and it's something that these women deserve.
Can I just say, Mackenzie Hawkesby and I differ in opinion on her approach to picking up fantasy points. I mean, I needed to replace Alex Chidiac, and I've gone with the Hawk, apparently the Hawk isn't too keen on getting points for my team here.
The Hawk told me that fantasy plays no part in how she approaches game day action. But
she's just a gun day in, day out. She doesn't need the fantasy points to rely on.
She's the top three player on fantasy because she's focused on that game, and that's why those results are coming in, Teo. So just let her keep doing what she's doing.
But Hannah's comments were so interesting, coming from a US background as well, where the conversation around the women's game has been huge and had that momentum for a number of years. You're a big football fan as well as a former player, and we see that difference of opinion and punditry in the US and in the UK around the Prem for so many years.
Oh, look, it's wonderful. And this is what Australian football is building towards. We want to have these honest conversations, these authentic and varied conversations that stimulates conversation, because yes, it's great to be talked about, but what's worse is not being talked about. And this is where, like, as Teo said, he's had interactions with people this week who aren't normally engaged in the female game. So while not everyone was happy with the conversation what was the topic of conversation, we should say, the game was being talked about, it was being noted, and that is important.
And while we're on the topic